In 1990, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were at their peak. They had a hit animated TV series, the comics that the show was based off of, a pair of movies, a massive line of toys, and of course, video games. By this point, there was the first NES game and the arcade game that would be ported to the NES. But a few months before that port was released, we'd be able to get our turtle fix in the handheld world when Fall of the Foot Clan was released on the Game Boy, also by Konami. It's a 2D action platformer, much like the first NES game, but here there's no overhead map. It's a straight, cut and dry, linear, point A to point B beat 'em up. And the simplicity of its design is its greatest asset. There was no need to get too ambitious with this. Just give me 5 levels of walking around, beating up the bad guys with the boss at the end of each stage. Even the plot is as tried and true as it gets. April has been kidnapped by Shredder and Krang, and it's up to our heroes to rescue her and defeat the Foot Clan. It's nothing elaborate like Shredder taking the entire fucking city of Manhattan or anything like that, but again, this is all that's needed. You have to select your turtle before the start of the stage. You can't change characters in the middle of it, but you can switch in between stages. When you run out of health, your turtle is captured, and it's game over when you lose all 4. You can increase your health by grabbing pizza that you'll find in select spots, or that get dropped by enemies upon killing them. You can also restore your health by successfully completing some bonus mini games that you'll play when you reach a specific area, most of which are tucked away in corners or hidden spots. These games include target shooting, where you have to hit a certain amount of the 15 targets. There's also a one-on-one game against Krang, where you select as many stars from a given row as you like to take them off the board, and the object is to leave 1 remaining. And then there's a number guessing game where Splinter selects a number from 1 to 999, and you get 10 tries to guess what it is, which sounds impossible, but it does let you know if you need to go higher or lower, although for some reason it tells you if your guess is bigger or smaller than the target number instead of vice versa, which is misleading. These bonus games are very simple, but they break things up a little bit. You won't acquire any additional weapons or special items aside from the pizza health refill, but you do get ninja stars by default. If you squat down and attack, you'll toss these things, which gives you at least 1 long-range attack, and they're infinite. And if you jump and attack, you'll kick. The graphics are pretty damn good. The characters are more defined than they were in the NES actually, particularly their faces. And while there's not always a lot of detail in the backgrounds, there's always enough distinction to tell what kind of environment that you're supposed to be in. And each level is distinct from each other. There isn't much in the way of options. You can toggle which button is your attack and jump respectively, and you can actually decide right off the bat which stage to start on. So you can technically pick up where you left off, but you have to start from the beginning to see the ending. Fall of the Foot Clan isn't anything innovative or groundbreaking, but when you're playing Ninja Turtles on the Game Boy, I think you just want a plug-and-play type of game that you just go around beating up shit. So the game is exactly what it's supposed to be. The game starts out with a quick cutscene of the Turtles being given their mission of rescuing a kidnapped April. The first stage starts out on the streets of New York. Foot soldiers will emerge from both sides, wipe them out, and you can hit the parking meter to launch an attack on them. These small machines will hover over you before swooping down on you. Just wait for them to come down, and then they'll shift slowly over in your direction, wipe them out from there. And then take out this barrel here for a number guessing bonus game. After some more foot soldiers and flying machines, you'll end up in the sewer. Foot soldiers here will jump out at you, so be ready to react quicker than before. And if they come from both sides at the same time, strike one and then immediately turn to hit the other almost simultaneously. There are also mousers down here that try to snag onto your arm. Wipe them out before they can. Then this massive boulder will roll towards you. Stay back so you don't get toppled, and jump over it. These bats will come out of their perched positions and fly towards you. Take them out and walk into this wall for a leave 1-star bonus stage. After some more soldiers and mousers, you're back up on the street again. A motorcycle carrying about a half-dozen foot soldiers will come roaring by. Leap high to get over them and be ready for more foot soldiers right after. You'll get several more of these bikes throughout the stretch, sometimes from behind, so be ready to jump and attack. Soon after, you're back in the sewer again. Drop into the water and head to the wall where you'll get a target shooting bonus game. You win as long as you hit at least 6 of the 15 targets that fly into the screen. Pieces of ceiling will fall from above. Be ready to stop yourself and let it fall in front of you so you don't get hit. And after a large chunk of foot soldiers, mousers, and falling ceiling, take out these barrels in the wall to get to the first boss, Rocksteady. He'll fire bullets, which you can ricochet if you time it right. Otherwise, jump over them, give him a hit, and it'll stun him and send him backwards. Keep this up until you land 5 hits, which finishes him off. You get a quick cutscene where Donatello deduces that they're closing in because they can hear April screaming, and it's on to stage 2, which takes place in a building of some kind. After a few foot soldiers, you'll run into these long protrusions that pop out of the floor and ceiling. The ones coming out from the floor don't matter all that much, it just lifts you up, but the ones coming down from the ceiling will hurt you. So be ready to stop in front of them, and if you don't think you're going to make it past the opening, duck down and then pass through. Jump up into this corner for a bonus stage. This time you have to hit 8 targets out of the 15. You'll get some more flying machines and small pieces of ceiling coming down, as well as 3 straight boulders rolling by as enemies pop up to make things worse. Be aware of your surroundings so you can dodge and attack. There'll be a couple more boulders that roll down, and when you see the one coming as you climb up the stairs, don't worry about hitting a ceiling or anything like that. It's open up top at this point, so just jump as high as you can, and you'll advance to the next segment. Here you'll come across some pits, which aren't insta-deaths, but you still don't want to take damage from falling into them. So carefully position yourself as you jump across each platform, wipe out the enemies that pop out from either side, and collect the floating pizza that passes by. These flame ghost heads will pop out of some of these pits, take them out before advancing, and be ready for more falling chunks of ceiling. The boulders that fall down the stairs are tougher to get by because they are up higher, so jump straight up before shifting over them. Soon after is the boss, Bebop. He'll do a running charge, jump over this and swipe at him, then back away to avoid his follow-up punch or his gun, which he'll fire off every once in a while. Keep this up until you take him out, and it's on to stage 3. You'll get a cutscene of the turtles just missing the bad guys as they escaped by car, and the next stage takes place on the road where trucks are lined up bumper to bumper but still cruising, so this is dangerous as all hell. You'll get a bunch of leaping foot soldiers right away, and then one will throw a fucking really big brick at you. Knock it back and take him out. You'll get some of the flying machines too, but other than the brick guy, nothing different about this stage that you haven't seen yet. It's almost entirely foot soldiers with some flying machines and brick guys. You'll then reach the boss, Baxter Stockman, in his fly form. He'll fire a spread shot of projectiles down at you, get to the opposite side of the screen so these things don't reach you, and then as he swoops down to attack you, give him a hit and run, retreating to the opposite side so you can repeat the process. After dealing enough shots, he's done for, and it's on to stage 4. You get a cutscene of Michelangelo yelling about the baddies taking off down the river, and that's where the stage takes place. You're in the water, but you can use these logs that flow across the surface to travel across. Just make sure to wipe out the foot soldiers that appear up here. Even if you stay below, they can become a nuisance. Plus you've got fish that want to kill you for some reason. So I say stick with the logs. It's easier to deal with the foot soldiers from up here, as well as these balls that fall out of the sky. Keep your distance from them. You'll end up in deeper water where you'll deal with more fish, and one of these rolling boulders. Leap over it. You'll come back up to shallower water, get back on the logs, and soon after you'll reach the next segment, which is in a cave. When you first get in, jump up here to get to a number guessing bonus game, and then you've got foot soldiers, mousers that leap out of the ground, kill them right away, rolling boulders, and balls that fall. These will travel horizontally first until they line up with you and then drop vertically. Wipe them out or let them pass. Then chunks of ceiling will fall, and you'll end up with lots of enemies coming from all directions. There's never more than 3 at a time, but they do pop up frequently, so be ready to attack from all sides quickly. There are no platforms or pits in this segment, just a long line of crap trying to kill you until you reach the boss, Shredder. He slowly stalks you and takes a swing with his sword. He's tall, so leap at a wide angle to get over him and get a hit in. He'll teleport to the other side of the room and try to get you by surprise, so be ready for it. Keep this going until he's done, and it's on to the final stage, the Technodrome, and you'll get a cutscene of the turtles entering the fortress. Right away, hop into the corner here for a shooting bonus stage. You'll have to hit 10 targets here. After a few foot soldiers early on, you'll meet these robots that jump up into the air and try to smash you, and then electrocute you with their wire. They take a couple hits, so attack it before it runs into you, and even with one hit, its recovery time will leave you temporarily immune to it. Or if you give them an aerial attack, you only have to hit it once. You'll also have these mini planes that try to spear you from an angle. Hit them out of the air, or avoid them entirely. Watch out for these electrical currents that come out of the ceiling and the floor. Even if there are enemies nearby, take them out first and then wait for an opening to pass through. You'll get mousers that pop out of the ground, falling balls, and these flying machines. After a few more of these currents, one of which comes up from the floor, you end in what is seemingly a conveyor belt of all these enemies. And then you'll hit up the next segment, which is a narrower corridor of the Technodrome. When you first get in, hop up to the upper left-hand corner for a number guessing bonus game. You'll get another slew of the enemies from before, including this new machine that slides by like a Roomba. Jump over it. Don't worry about the height of the ceiling, you won't bump your head. The Roomba thing will come out again from behind this time, and then you'll get another one that's double stacked. So get ready to jump up high, including a double decker that sneaks up from behind, and another that does so from the ceiling. Just let it pass by, you don't even have to duck. As long as you don't jump, you're fine. Soon after, you'll reach the final boss, Krang, who emerges from the portal from Dimension X. He'll stagger towards you and give you low kicks. Jump up to avoid them and land your attack before retreating so you don't get hit by his longer range retaliatory strike. Repeat this hit and run strategy until you take him out. He'll be sent back through the portal and you finish the game. You get a cutscene of your rescue of April, the Technodrome being imploded, and an epilogue message will scroll, acknowledging that Shredder and Krang may have escaped, even though we saw Krang go through the portal, essentially confirming it, and then the credits roll, with Krang popping out at the end to hint at the sequel that would come out a year later, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, Back from the Sewers. But we'll save that one for another time. And that wraps up this edition of Aqualung's Game Reviews. See you next time.